The average American home contains over 300,000 items, yet we spend $1,200 a year per person on storage solutions and still feel like we're drowning in clutter. Meanwhile, the typical Japanese household, often half the square footage, feels twice as spacious, costs a fraction to maintain, and produces a sense of calm that most of us only experience on vacation. This isn't about minimalism as a trendy aesthetic. It's about a completely different relationship with the space you live in. One built on ancient daily rituals that turn a house into something sacred. Today I'm counting down 10 Japanese home habits that will utterly transform your living space. Habits so deceptively simple you'll wonder why every home on Earth hasn't adopted them, and so genius you'll want to start number 10 before you even finish this video. Number 10. They never wear outside shoes past the entryway. This is the Genkan, the sunken entryway found in virtually every Japanese home, apartment, and even many schools and offices. It's a literal line in the floor, a 6-inch drop from the main living level, and crossing it with street shoes is unthinkable. The Genkan isn't just a mudroom. It's a spiritual threshold where the dirt, stress, and chaos of the outside world are shed before entering the clean, peaceful interior. When you step into a Japanese home, you are not just entering a building. You are crossing from the public, chaotic, polluted outside into a private, ordered, purified inside. The physical act of removing your shoes is the ritual that marks this transition. You leave the world at the door. A 2022 study from the Kyoto Institute of Technology found that outdoor shoes track in an average of 421,000 units of bacteria per square meter, including E. coli and C. difficile straight onto your floors. That is not an exaggeration. That is a measurement. The soles of your shoes have walked through public restrooms, across city sidewalks where animals defecate, through parking lots slick with oil and antifreeze. In American homes, we walk that bacteria into our kitchens, our bedrooms, where our toddlers crawl, where we drop our pillows at night. We are literally sleeping with the street. I remember the first time I visited a friend's apartment in Osaka. It was a tiny studio, maybe 250 square feet, but it felt like a sanctuary. I stepped up from the Genkan in my socks, and the floor felt impossibly clean, like I could eat off it. Because in a very real sense, they do. Families sit on the floor to eat, to play, to sleep on futons laid directly on the tatami. The floor is a living surface, not just something you walk on. My friend's mother would run her hand over the Genkan ledge every evening, checking for dust as instinctively as we check our phones. When I came back to my own apartment in Chicago, I suddenly saw my entryway rug as a pathetic little island in a sea of contamination. It was a joke, a decorative lie. I thought about all the invisible filth I had been tracking across the same floor, where I walked barefoot to get a glass of water at 2 a.m. I bought a simple shoe rack, placed it right by the door, and started a strict no-shoes policy. I found a small wooden bench at a thrift store and put it right at the entrance, creating a clear, undeniable transition zone. Within a week, my floors stayed cleaner longer, my allergies improved, and there was this subtle psychological shift. Taking off my shoes became a ritual of leaving work at the door. I would physically pause at the bench, untie my laces, and feel the stress of the commute slide off my shoulders with the shoes. Try it. Place a rack or a small bench right at your entrance. Make it impossible to miss. Put a pair of comfortable house slippers there, waiting for you. You'll be shocked at how quickly the feeling of your home changes from a storage unit you sleep in to a sanctuary you inhabit. Number 9. They air out their bedding every single morning. The futon, the traditional Japanese mattress, is never left to languish in a dark bedroom, accumulating dust mites and moisture. Every morning, without fail, it's hung over a balcony railing, a dedicated drying pole, or even just draped over a chair by a sunny window. This is called futon hoshi, and it is as automatic as making coffee. You will see futons draped over apartment balconies all across Tokyo, even on the 30th floor, flapping in the breeze like gentle flags of domestic diligence. The sun's ultraviolet rays are a natural disinfectant, killing bacteria and dust mites that thrive in the warm, humid environment of a slept-in bed. A human body releases roughly half a pint to a full pint of moisture every single night through sweat and breath. That moisture soaks into your mattress, your pillows, your duvet. It creates a dark, warm, damp ecosystem that dust mites consider paradise. A study from the Tokyo University of Agriculture and Technology demonstrated that just 2 hours of direct sunlight exposure eliminated over 90% of dust mite allergens from fabric surfaces. The UV radiation fractures the proteins in the mite feces and dead mite bodies that trigger allergic reactions. It's a free, chemical-free, effortless sanitization process that humanity has used for millennia. Compare that to the average American mattress, which doubles in weight every 8 to 10 years due to accumulated dead skin, dust mite feces, and sweat, and is never once sunned in its entire lifespan. We're literally sleeping in a biological landfill. We buy hypoallergenic mattress covers and HEPA filters and special vacuums to fight a problem that a little sunlight would solve for free. When I first learned this, I didn't own a futon. I had a thick, heavy Western mattress that I certainly couldn't drag to a balcony. But I started a modified version. Every morning, I stripped my duvet and pillows and placed them near the sunniest window in my apartment. I opened the blinds fully, even if it means the neighbors can see in. I let the light hit the mattress directly for at least an hour before making the bed. I propped the pillows on the windowsill. I draped the duvet over a chair positioned in the sunbeam. The difference in freshness is immediate and profound. There's a crispness, a lightness, a faint clean smell like laundry dried on a clothesline that no fabric spray can replicate. It costs nothing. It takes 2 minutes. And it transforms your bed from a breeding ground back into a place of rest. If you have a balcony or a yard, even better. Hang your bedding outside one morning this week. Let the wind and the sun do what $1,000 of bedding accessories cannot. Number 8. They clean the bathroom every single day, but not the way you think. In Japan, the bathroom, the ofuro, is not a utilitarian room for quick showers. It's a sanctuary for the nightly bath, a ritual of purification that is as much mental as physical. The ofuro room is often a separate space from the toilet, a room designed entirely for soaking, steaming, and washing away the day. And because it's a sacred space, it's cleaned with a level of daily attention that seems obsessive to Western sensibilities. But here's the trick. It's not a deep clean, it's a 1-minute wipe down. After every single bath or shower, while the room is still steamy and the surfaces are warm, every member of the household is expected to take a small squeegee or microfiber cloth and wipe down the walls, the floor, the faucets, and the mirror. The warmth and humidity have softened every bit of soap residue and body oil. They wipe away effortlessly, like cleaning a countertop after a spill instead of chiseling off weeks of hardened scum. Soap scum never hardens. Mold never gets a foothold. Hard water stains never bake on. The room stays perpetually clean with almost no effort. Meanwhile, the average American lets the bathroom go for a week or two, then spends an hour on Saturday scrubbing with harsh chemicals and a lot of resentment. We wait until the grout turns pink, until the mirror is a galaxy of toothpaste spots, until the shower curtain smells faintly of mildew, and then we attack it with bleach and fury. It's a boom and bust cycle of neglect and punishment. I tried this after reading a Japanese home care book. I hung a small squeegee and a microfiber cloth right in the shower, on a hook at eye level where I couldn't miss them. The first week, I had to force myself. I would be halfway out the door before remembering and trudging back. By week 3, it was automatic. The squeegee became an extension of my hand at the end of the shower, a final 30-second pass over the walls and the glass door. By week 6, my shower looked brand new, and I hadn't done a single deep clean. No scrubbing bubbles, no lungfuls of chemical fumes. Just a minute of gentle wiping, while the surfaces were wet and warm. The principle is so simple it's almost insulting. A minute of maintenance prevents an hour of repair. Apply this to your bathroom starting tonight. Hang the tools where you can see them. Make the wipe down the last step of your shower, as non-negotiable as turning off the water. Number 7. They treat the kitchen sink like a dish, not a dump. In a Japanese kitchen, the sink is a workspace, not a holding pen for dirty dishes. No dish is ever left in the sink. Not one, not for 10 minutes. Plates are rinsed, scrubbed, and placed in a drying rack immediately after use. Or at the very least, scraped clean and stacked neatly to the side. The sink itself is then rinsed, wiped dry with a dedicated cloth and left gleaming. I have watched Japanese grandmothers finish cooking a multi-course meal, and there is not a single dirty pan in the sink when the food hits the table. They wash as they go with a speed and instinct that looks like choreography. This is part of a broader concept called missi-acute, meaning to purify or cleanse, which extends to the entire kitchen. A wet, cluttered sink is not just an eyesore. It's a bacterial breeding ground and a psychological anchor. Every time you walk past a sink full of dirty dishes, your brain registers a small spike of stress. It's an incomplete task, a visual reminder of your own procrastination, sitting there in the middle of your home. A 2021 study from the University of Osaka's Department of Environmental Health found that kitchen sinks in homes that left dishes overnight contained, on average, 100,000 times more bacteria than the average toilet seat. Let that sink in, if you'll pardon the phrase. We're afraid of public restrooms, but happily stack festering dishes in the very basin where we wash our vegetables, where we rinse our fruit, where we fill our water glasses. The place we clean our food is dirtier than the place we eliminate waste. I used to be the worst offender. My sink was a monument to procrastination. I would pile dishes until the stack teetered, until I had to wash a fork just to eat dinner, until the task had grown so large that I needed a podcast and a full hour of grim determination to face it. The day I decided to treat the sink like a dish itself, to wash and dry it after every single use, my entire relationship with my kitchen changed. I started rinsing my plate the second I finished eating. I wiped the basin with a dry cloth until it shone. The stainless steel reflected the kitchen light. It looked beautiful. Cooking became a pleasure instead of a prelude to a dreaded cleanup. The kitchen felt open and inviting. It's the most impactful 2-minute habit I've ever adopted. Keep a dry cloth hanging right by the sink. The moment the last dish is washed, wipe the basin. Make it shine. You will walk into your kitchen the next morning and feel a small, quiet victory before you've even had your coffee. Number 6. They have a designated place for everything, and the place is as specific as a surgeon's tray. This goes far beyond the Western cliché of a place for everything and everything in its place. That phrase implies a kind of vague, well-intentioned tidiness. The Japanese version is surgical. It is dictated by the flow of daily life, or do-sa, the sequence of movements your body makes through the space. Scissors live exactly where you reach for them, not 6 inches to the left. The tea canister is positioned precisely for the morning ritual, at the exact angle your hand approaches the counter. Keys have a small ceramic tray by the Genkan, never on the kitchen counter, never in a coat pocket. Mail has a specific basket that is emptied every evening, not a growing pile on the dining table. Nothing is homeless, and therefore nothing accumulates. The result is a home that requires almost no tidying, because things never become misplaced in the first place. Tidying, as an activity, is the act of returning homeless objects to their homes. If every object has a home and you always return it there, tidying ceases to exist. A survey by the Japan Institute of Design and Research found that Japanese homemakers spend an average of 40% less time straightening up than their American counterparts, despite living in smaller spaces with more items per square foot. The secret is the absolute precision of the designated spots. Not "the scissors are in this drawer." The scissors are in this drawer on the left side, blade down, in the small bamboo divider. That level of specificity sounds obsessive, but it is actually liberating. You never have to think, your hand knows where to go. I applied this to my own home's worst black hole, the junk drawer, you know the one. The drawer in the kitchen that holds everything and nothing. A chaos of dead batteries, mystery keys, takeout menus, and dried-out pens. I took everything out, threw away the actual junk, and then stood in my kitchen and mimed my daily actions. I realized I reached for a pen near the fridge to jot down grocery items, not near the drawer. So I put a small ceramic cup with 2 pens right there, next to the fridge handle. Tape went near the entryway for packages. Batteries went in a tiny box in the hall closet near the smoke detectors. The junk drawer ceased to exist. The habit here is not just organizing once. It's the daily discipline of returning an item to its home the instant you're done with it. No exceptions. No, I'll just set it here for now. That phrase, "just for now," is the enemy of a peaceful home. Return it now, every time. Your future self will live in a home that is perpetually ordered, without ever having to tidy up again. Number 5. They open every window every single morning, even in winter. This is called mod-awake, and it's as non-negotiable as brushing your teeth. Regardless of the temperature, every window in the house is thrown open for at least 5 to 10 minutes to create a cross breeze. The goal is a complete air exchange, flushing out the carbon dioxide, indoor pollutants, and stale humidity that have accumulated overnight. 8 hours of breathing, of skin shedding, of off-gassing from mattresses and furniture, all trapped in a sealed box. The Japanese throw open the windows and let the morning air scour the house clean. The indoor air quality in a typical sealed American home, with its recirculating HVAC system, can be 2 to 5 times more polluted than air outside, according to data from Japan's National Institute of Public Health, which has done extensive comparative studies on indoor air environments. We're breathing in off-gassing furniture, cooking residue, cleaning product fumes, and our own exhaled breath all day. We seal ourselves in against the elements and then wonder why we feel groggy, why we get headaches, why our homes smell faintly of last night's dinner for days. I started this habit in the middle of a Chicago January. The temperature was in the teens. The wind chill was brutal. I stood in my living room, bracing myself, and opened every window. Yes, it was freezing. The cold hit my face like a slap. I'd blast the heat for 10 minutes afterward to bring the temperature back up, but the effect on my morning brain fog was undeniable. The house felt alive. The slight stuffy odor that I'd never noticed before, the one I had simply become nose blind to, simply vanished. The air felt light and sharp and clean, like the air after a thunderstorm. The psychological effect is just as powerful as the physical one. Opening the windows is a declaration that a new day has begun. It's a reset. It's the home taking a deep, cleansing breath. It blows out the staleness of sleep and invites in the energy of the morning. Pair it with your first cup of coffee. Stand by the open window, feel the cold or the breeze on your face and breathe. It will change your mornings, even 5 minutes. Even if you have to put on a sweater. Your home needs to breathe as much as you do. Number 4. They shop daily, not weekly. The Japanese supermarket run is a near-daily ritual, not a weekly stock-up marathon. They buy what they need for the next 24 to 36 hours. This does two transformative things for the home. First, it eliminates the need for a massive, space-hogging pantry and a refrigerator crammed with forgotten, produce slowly turning to science experiments. Second, it means food is consumed at peak freshness, which reduces waste and, not incidentally, makes every meal taste astronomically better. A tomato bought this afternoon and eaten tonight tastes fundamentally different from a tomato bought last Sunday and excavated from the crisper drawer on Friday. The average Japanese household wastes roughly half the food that the average American household does, according to data from Japan's Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries compared with USDA figures. Our refrigerators are basically graveyards for good intentions. We buy a bag of spinach with ambitious salad plans, shove it in the back of the fridge, and find it 3 weeks later as a bag of black sludge. We buy a whole chicken, forget to thaw it, and eventually throw it away with a pang of guilt and a silent promise to do better next week. The weekly stock-up is a bet against your own future energy and memory, and it's a bet you lose almost every time. I know daily shopping sounds insane to an American schedule. I thought so too. The idea of going to a grocery store every single day felt like a part-time job. But I experimented with a modified version. A walk to a local market every other day, just for produce and protein. I kept a small basket by the door specifically for this purpose. I would walk the 6 blocks to the market, buy what I needed for the next 2 days, and walk home. It became a ritual, a pleasant stroll, not a chore. My refrigerator transformed from an overstuffed anxiety box into a clean, visible, curated collection of fresh ingredients. I could see everything. I used everything. My food waste dropped to almost zero. The home felt lighter because I wasn't subconsciously managing an inventory of decay, tracking expiration dates in the back of my mind, feeling the low-grade guilt of forgotten food slowly rotting. Even if you can't do it daily, shifting to a twice-a-week fresh food rhythm will radically declutter your kitchen and your mind. Buy less, buy fresher, buy more often. Your refrigerator should be a gallery of ingredients, not a warehouse of regret. Number 3. They practice Inemuri in the living space, not just the bedroom. Inemuri, literally sleeping while present, is the Japanese art of the power nap. But it's not hidden away in a dark bedroom. It's done on the sofa, on the floor, on a train, in the living room with the family still moving around. You will see salarymen in suits, heads tilted back, mouths slightly open, dozing on park benches at lunchtime. You will see mothers napping on tatami mats, while their children play quietly beside them. Sleeping in public is not a sign of laziness in Japan. It is a sign of diligence, a signal that you have worked so hard you need to recharge. The home is designed as a place of genuine rest, not just a staging ground for the next activity. This means the living room has blankets and cushions that invite you to lie down. The lighting is soft and warm, not harsh overheads. There's an implicit permission to rest that American homes, with their upright furniture and productivity-focused layouts, aggressively lack. Our living rooms are designed for sitting, for watching, for being alert. The sofa is for posture, not for sprawling. The lights are bright. The vibe is stay awake. A 2019 sleep study from the University of Tokyo found that a 15 to 20-minute Inemuri period in the early afternoon reduced cortisol levels and improved cognitive performance for the rest of the day more effectively than a longer, deeper nap in a bed. The key is the semi-public, semi-alert nature of it. You're resting, but you're not withdrawing. You are still present in the life of the home, just in a lower gear. You don't go to a dark room and close the door. You simply lie down where you are, close your eyes, and let your body go slack while the sounds of the household continue around you. I started keeping a simple wool blanket draped over the arm of my couch, a visual cue that this was a rest zone. I gave myself explicit permission to lie down for 15 minutes after lunch. No phone, no guilt, no feeling that I should be doing something productive. I would lie on my back, pull the blanket over my legs, and close my eyes. Sometimes I drifted off. Sometimes I just floated in a half-awake state. Either way, I got up feeling genuinely restored. My living room stopped being just a place to watch TV and became a genuine recovery space. A room that actively restored my energy instead of just housing me while I was awake. The home should be the softest place in your life, the place where it is always okay to rest. Inemuri makes it so. Put a blanket on your couch. Give yourself permission to lie down. Your living room is not a waiting room for bedtime. Number 2. They clean as a daily act of gratitude, not a chore. This is the most profound mindset shift in the entire list. In Japan, the act of cleaning, particularly the end-of-day tidying of a classroom, a dojo, or a home, is called asoji, but the daily version is simply seen as otair, a word that implies care and maintenance, like tending a garden. It's not a punishment. It's not something you do because the house is dirty, or because guests are coming, or because you can't stand the mess anymore. It's a practice of gratitude for the space that shelters you. Children clean their schools every day from first grade. They sweep the floors, wipe the desk, scrub the hallways. It is part of the curriculum, not a punishment for misbehavior. Adults wipe down their desks before leaving the office, clearing the surface and leaving it ready for the next day. The home is swept, wiped, and tidied each evening, not out of obsessive compulsion, but out of a quiet, reciprocal respect. You care for the home cares for you. The floor supports your feet all day. The counter holds your meals. The bath receives your tired body. To clean them is to say thank you. I rejected this as sentimental nonsense for years. I thought it was a nice metaphor for people who had too much time on their hands. Then, during a particularly stressful month, when my work was chaotic and my mind was a storm of anxiety, I started a simple evening ritual out of desperation. I'd spend 10 minutes, no music, no podcast, just silently wiping down the kitchen counters, folding the blankets, and sweeping the entryway. I treated it as a moving meditation, a way to say thank you to the walls around me. I would run the cloth over the counter and think, thank you for holding my coffee this morning. I would fold the blanket and think, thank you for keeping me warm. It felt ridiculous at first, then it felt grounding. My anxiety dropped. My sleep improved. The act of putting my home to bed, so to speak, put my own mind to bed. The physical motions of care, the smooth wipe of the cloth, the gentle sweep of the broom, the soft folding of fabric became a signal to my nervous system that the day was complete, that everything was in order, that I could rest. The habit transforms cleaning from a reactive crisis, something you do when things have gotten bad, into a proactive, calming ritual. Tonight, before you go to sleep, take 10 minutes to tidy your main living space in total silence as an act of thanks. Don't rush, don't resent it. Just care for the space that cared for you all day. You'll feel the difference immediately. And the number 1 Japanese habit that will transform your home, the foundation upon which every other habit on this list is built. They see the home as a living entity, not a storage unit. The Japanese home is not a container for your stuff. It's not a backdrop for your life. It's an active participant in your well-being. This is rooted in the Shinto concept that objects and spaces can possess a spirit, or kami, and deserve to be treated with reverence. A home is not dead matter arranged for your convenience. It is a living presence that shelters you, protects you, and holds your life within its walls. Whether or not you believe in spirits, the practical outcome is undeniable. When you treat your home as something alive, you don't ignore its corners. You don't let its surfaces grow dusty. You don't bury it in clutter. You listen to it. You notice the creaky hinge that has been whining for attention for months. You notice the cluttered hallway that makes you feel tense every time you walk through it. You notice the dark corner that never gets light, where the energy of the room seems to die. And you tend to it, not when it's broken, not when the mess has become unbearable, but constantly, gently, as you would tend to a garden or a beloved pet. You water it with attention. You prune away the dead branches of unused possessions. You open it to the sunlight. The American relationship with the home is transactional. We pay a mortgage or rent. We store our things, we sleep there, we move on. The home is a line item in a budget, a box of square footage, an asset that appreciates or depreciates. The Japanese relationship is relational. The home is a member of the family. It has a presence. It has a history. It is cared for not because it is dirty, but because it is loved. This is the master habit that makes the other 9 not only possible, but inevitable. When you see your home as alive, you don't wear shoes inside because you would not track filth onto a loved one's skin. You don't let your bed rot in the dark because you would not let a loved one suffocate. You don't leave dishes festering because you would not poison a loved one's water. You don't shut the windows and seal in the stale air because you would not deny a loved one the chance to breathe. You don't fill it with 2 weeks of excess food because you would not bury a loved one in things they cannot use. You don't treat rest as a weakness because you would not deny a loved one the chance to recover. You don't clean out of anger. You care for it out of love. This is the transformation, not a new organizational system, not a remodel, not a trip to the container store. A fundamental shift in how you perceive the space you inhabit. A shift from ownership to relationship, from management to care. Start tomorrow morning. Stand in your living room before anyone else is awake. Look at the walls that have sheltered you. Look at the floor that has held you up. Look at the light coming through the window. And say out loud if you dare, I will care for you today. Then do just one of the habits from this list. Just one. The Genkan rule. The morning window ritual. The 1-minute bathroom wipe down. Watch what happens. Your home will begin to care for you back.